We're here at the Gold Cup, the 10th round of the historic Formula Ford 2000 Championship qualifying. It was taken place in wet conditions. It was Ben Tusting that set the quickest time in his Reynard, with the top 6 cars separated by just 1.2 seconds. All the quickest laps comes at the end of the session as the track started to dry just a touch. Tusting's time, 2 minutes 0.6. He was fastest than Tom Smith was second, championship leader Smith there, second place. Then Callum Grant next up for Andrew Park. Andrew Park, the closest rival to Tusting in the championship. He was a double winner last time out at Croft. Tom White in the Class B of Stella did a great job to be 5th place, and within a second of the pole man Tusting. Then Lee Bankhurst was next up in only his 3rd meeting in historic Formula Ford 2000. Colin Wright and Brian Morris will start on row 4 for Mick Whitehead and Graham Ridgway. And a pair of Reynards on row 5. David Reed and Robert Tusting on row 6, and Jeremy May and John Haynes Harlow. Davey Oulton, then Fraser Collins, the second of the Class B cars, although 13 seconds slower than Tom White. Jeremy Kane and John Randall and 2 further Class B cars on row 9. And then the 10th final row, Neil Bowman and John Bowles and the only Super B, the Oulton. At the back, we are on board then with Colin Wright for the start of the race. And we'll be getting underway very shortly. The lights go out, away we go. Lee Bankhurst doesn't go anywhere at all. Bankhurst left on the grid, and it's a very good start actually from Colin Wright. Bad start as well from Ben Tusting. The pole man's gone backwards. He's side by side with Grant. He's dropped behind Grant, so Tusting goes 1st to 4th off the line. Not a good start from him at all. Still better though than Lee Bankhurst. He didn't go anywhere. He has started now, but right at the back of the field. The top 4 already started to make a break. Into 5th then for Wright, down to 6th for Tom White. They go, and there's contact. A couple of cars going off there. That was Graham Ridgway and John Hayes Harlow. So now they're going to be on the wet grass. They're going to have to try and get themselves off of that. There's Ridgway. John Hayes Harlow is going to rejoin. He's got damage though. It's going to be a long way back from the rest of the field. Looks like Ridgway is going to need some help if he's going to get back going. Out of the Channels hairpin, down towards the Britain chicane they go. It is Smith ahead of Park and Grant. That's your top 3, then hard onto the brakes. Into the Britain chicane, which isn't really an overtaking spot. Tusting going with the top 3. They get back to Tom White. He's got ahead of Colin Wright now to change for 5th place already. And White has a good run off of the chicane. You can see it's still slippery out there. Everyone's starting on wet tyres. The dry line starting to emerge though, and you'd expect will do as the race goes on, and then keeping those wet tyres cool and usable is going to be a big factor of this race. Tom White trying to catch back up with that top 4. Colin Wright dropping back slightly. There's Bankhurst diving down the inside of, I think that was Mick Whitehead's Reynard. Bankhurst already into the top 10. Off the circuit there goes Jeremy Main. No, it's not Jeremy Main, it's Jeremy Kane in the Lola that went straight on. On board with Callum Grant into Druids, then the Delta driver, Grant, who was the quickest driver at Croft, but didn't put those necessarily into results, with an off in the first race, retiring on the final lap, and then they're having to start from the back of the second race. A stellar performance to get up into, I think it was 4th place. Across the line then to complete the first lap, it is Smith that leads. He was looking very good in qualifying this morning. He's got an 8/10 gap to Andrew Park. 3rd is Grant, 4th Tusting. Then a couple of seconds back to Tom White, who's all by himself. He's got a gap back to Colin Wright in 6th, and it's Morris, Robert Tusting, Bankhurst and Main in the top 10. Through Cascades and down Lakeside towards Island Bend go our race leaders then to the top 5 with a definite break to the rest of the field. Brian Morris getting lots of track time this weekend, or today even, Bank Holiday Monday at the Gold Cup. He's also racing historic Formula Ford 1600, so he's seeing how the track develop throughout the day. And going well there in 7th spot at the moment. You have to watch out for Lee Bankhurst though. Bankhurst is 5 or so seconds behind him, but Bankhurst was quick in qualifying this morning. Pitted though towards the end of the session, and he dropped from what was 2nd place at that point. On board we go then with Tom White. He was 1.8 seconds behind Tusting as they crossed the line on the end of that opening lap. Seeing if he can close that in now. He went very well in qualifying this morning. That Class B car, remember, will go within a second of pole. Enjoying these damp and wet conditions. Real leveller. Up Clay Hill he goes and down towards Druids. Meanwhile, a bit further back, there is Kane just ahead of Bowman. Bowman in the 78 Van Diemen. Up across the line to complete lap 2 there. Tom Smith, he's really pulling away, isn't he, from Andrew Park and Callum Grant, who are battling over second place. It's 1.7 seconds that Smith has of an advantage now. They're in our top 5, way ahead of the rest. It's Colin Wright though, who is the best of the rest, with Brian Morris chasing him. Into 8th now goes Lee Bankhurst. Bankhurst, even though he's coming through the field, only lapping 2 seconds slower than the leader. And Smith lapping a second faster than the rest of the field. No Sattel for second place. Callum Grant looks quicker than Andrew Park. Oulton Park though, not the easiest of places to pass. It's very narrow, especially with these winged cars. And Bankhurst has gone off. He's gone wide out of Cascades. He comes on the track sideways. He saves it though. That could have been a bit of a large accident. Bit of a hairy moment for Bankhurst, but he stays on the track as Callum Grant attacks into the Breton chicane. No, not the greatest of overtaking opportunities though. It's a very tight chicane. Really only one line through there, but Grant was going to give it a go. He was willing to give it a go, but he couldn't make it work. Colin Wright, then Brian Morrison, Lee Bankhurst closing them in. He's got ahead of Robert Tusting on that last lap, who sits in 9th spot. As the field flow their way through then, it's Jeremy May that's completed the top 10. He's ahead of Mick Whitehead and David Rees. Rees racing a Delta, as is Callum Grant, who we go on board with into Druids. Now this is probably one of the wetter parts of the circuit, under trees. Hasn't stopped raining that long. Only really just pull the lunch break, and the lunch break. The Ford 2000, the first race after Park goes deep into Lodge, trying to work out where the grip is, quite potentially. And yes, look, he has a good run off of Lodge Corner. Across the line then goes Tom Smith, setting another fastest lap of the race, 157.888. He's now 2 3/4 seconds clear of Park, again going a second faster than him. Then Grant in 3rd, 4th is Tusting, catching Grant on that last lap. White in 5th, then it's Wright in 6th, and Brian Morris has been passed by Lee Bankhurst. Bankhurst up to 7th, and he was 2.5 seconds faster than Colin Wright on that last lap. Wright coming across the line then with Bankhurst catching. He's chasing him in towards Old Hall. Is he going to go for a move here? Yes, he does. Down the inside into Old Hall. Bankhurst goes through. He's up into 6th now. But it's a 10-second gap to Tom White that he's going to have to try and work at. 2:08. Bankhurst was on that last lap from White with a 1:59.7. But this next lap will be Bankhurst's real first lap with no traffic. So he's actually all worked his way up from where he started. He dropped to the back off the line and worked his way back into 6th spot by the beginning of lap 4. Into the Knickerbrook chicane goes Tom Smith, our race leader. Here's the battle of a second, then Park and Grant still going at it with Ben Tusting watching it all unfold. He's got the best seat in the house for this battle of a second. Let's have a look back. You can see Colin Wright and Brian Morris's battle for 7th place. Wright in the Reynard, Morris in the Delta. Grant's Delta, older than Morris's though, he's ahead of him, and chasing Andrew Park through Druids. 1978 is Callum Grant's Delta, with Andrew Park is a 1981 Reynard. Down in towards Lodge Corner they go. Park sliding his car about. You'd have to start to think that he's lost hope already of catching Tom Smith, who has a 3.8 second lead, and he's concentrated on keeping Callum Grant at bay. Remember, it's Smith and Park that are the two real championship contenders. Callum Grant still there or thereabouts though, and drop scores come into play at the end of the season. He could bring him right back in it. He needs a good result here. He needs to get ahead of Andrew Park, and of course Park wants to hold on to this second place and not lose too many points out to championship leader Smith. And Grant has a great run down Lakeside. He's looking down the inside of Andrew Park. Park though brings his car into the middle of the track and staying ahead of Grant. Grant in the same place as Brian Morris, racing both historic Formula 4 2000s and the 1600s. Grant has a good run now off the Shellow's hairpin, but not enough to get himself ahead of Park. He's looking to see if there's any way through into the British chicane. There really isn't. He clobbers the curb on the apex of the beginning of the British chicane. Now up over Hilltop and down towards Knickerbrook, which is an overtaking opportunity. Park knows it. He's defended down the straight, and Grant actually didn't have the speed down the straight to attack. Again, he clobbers the curb as he turns into the chicane. Park drifts his way out of the Knickerbrook complex, and even that doesn't give Grant a run, or does it, as they go up over the top of Clay Hill underneath the pedestrian bridge and into the trees. And Druids, the right-hander, much faster than the Druids at Brands Hatch, of course, that. A bit further back we've got David Walton and Fraser Collins, I think that is, battling it out through the Knickerbrook chicane, having a good dice. There goes Park and Grant though through Old Hall, being chased by Tusting still. Colin right, he's going down towards Druids. Turns in. Oh, he doesn't find the grip that he expected to. He's gone off, he's run out wide. Brian Morris gains the place. He's up to 7th. Right, though, only did lose that one place. He's back on the circuit. And still ahead of Robert Tusting. In towards traffic now for the leaders. And here comes Park and Grant. Been the focus of attention in this race because they've been nose to tail right through it. And Ben Tusting is getting closer to them. He is catching them. He wants to try and pass them. Down towards Knickerbrook. Park's got a few car lengths to Grant. Doesn't need to focus too hard on defending into the Knickerbrook chicane, but Grant's now right with him, turning through the corner, right underneath his rear wing. But by the time he's there, he's got a really good run out of the corner. But again, as he gets there, it's always in the wrong places and to not be able to carry the momentum forward towards the next corner. Park defending well here. To what you can see is clearly quicker Callum Grant. They're now over 5 seconds behind leader Tom Smith. Down towards Lodge, underneath the vehicle bridge. Up in one of the slower cars. I think that was the Super V. The Class C runs again. Park drifts his way through the corner, through Lodge corner. He was sideways there and drifts very nicely indeed, and actually powers out. Makes a bit of a gap to Grant. Grant looking for the wet patches on the circuit. There's not huge amounts of them. Cool the tyres, keep the wet tyres working well. No standing water at all on the circuit now. Certainly drier conditions than what they were this morning, but probably more tricky conditions. No one risks a slick tyre. Certainly some drivers were thinking about it. Probably still a bit too damp though for the slicks. It would be almost impossible to bring them up to temperature on what is a very cold day here at the end of August. Grant looking to the outside of Park through the Shell Oils hairpin, couldn't do it, but had a fantastic run out the corner. He's now alongside Park on this run through the right kink towards the Britain chicane. He's now ahead of him. Park's got the inside line into the chicane though, but Grant's brave. He goes round the outside and Park can have the run out the corner though, because Grant was on a slightly awkward line for the chicane. Smith's already down at Knickerbrook. What's happened about of a second though? Grant's done it, but Park attacking back on the outside into the corner. Grant goes in very deep. He's got the place though. He's ahead of Park. With Ben Tusting chasing the pair of them still, they're going to have to go around one of the slower cars. They do that successfully. Grant's ahead. Tom Weiss in 5th place, heads through Knickerbrook 2 now. Something in the region of 20 seconds behind the leaders. It happened a couple of seconds slower. Lee Bankhurst on the last lap was 3 or 2.5 seconds faster than Bankhurst in a 57.9, which is the second fastest person on the circuit. Tom White was on 2:0.6. So White is being closed in very quick by Bankhurst, the former low-cost race winner and championship contender a couple of seasons ago. Tom White going very well this weekend in the Osella. Perhaps the Class B car, it starts to dry out, not going so well, but the Matrix Racing car now of Lee Bankhurst down the inside at Lodge Corner. He goes through, he's up to 5th. Is White going to attack back though, heading down towards Old Hall? As a suggestion, as it starts to dry out, the pace of the car rather than the driver perhaps coming to them, and that's why White's not able to go quite as fast as the Class A car. Bankhurst was out over the grass there, out over the dirt, out of Old Hall into Cascades. This is where Bankhurst went off towards to begin the race. This time it's Tom White, he's all over the grass. He saves it though. Pretty scary moment over the wet grass, so I'm sure. There goes Robert Tusting. And he has been passed recently by Mick Whitehead. So Whitehead up to 9th. There's about of a second. Grant, Park and Tusting. Davey Walton over the grass, passing Fraser Collins, who looks like he's slowing. For the final time then, Tom Smith turns his way into Knickerbrook. Grant is catching. It was towards a 6-second gap. Last time though, only 4.2. Grant was a second quick on that last time, just on the fastest lap, 1:56.2. There's Bankhurst in 5th. He's really pulled away from Tom White now, hasn't he? Of course, White had that very grassy moment, which certainly didn't help his cause. Final time into Lodge Corner for Callum Grant. He's caught Tom Smith, but by far not enough. It'll be Tom Smith that wins at Oulton Park for the 10th round of the championship. It's Tom Smith, surprisingly, his first win this season since Thruxton, the opening round. So second win for Smith, second time of the year, the first time since the first round at Thruxton. Callum Grant takes second with Andrew Park in third. He just held off Ben Tusting, who came home 4th. Lee Bankhurst in 5th spot, which I think is his best result in historic Formula 4 2000. Tom White was 6th, Brian Morris 7th, Colin Wright, Mick Whitehead and Robert Tusting completing the top 10. Callum Grant, the fastest lap on that last lap, he got into the 55s. Tom Smith leaves Oulton Park and towards Brands Hatch for the double header around the Indy circuit as a championship leader by just 11 points to Andrew Park, with Callum Grant right in there too. Just 3 rounds to go, the double header at Brands Hatch, then the Waterhays Trophy, Silverstone, the special round at the end of the year supporting the big Formula Ford event. Should be a great finale. At this rate, the championship is going to go right to that finale at Silverstone.